we're live. Awesome. Okay, so that should be popping up here. So we can see ourselves. Awesome.
Please speak up a little bit. I have one ear that I cannot hear out of.
Gotta remember to speak up.
Thank you.
All right. Well, hello and welcome back to WCN Live, here weekly on Facebook. I'm your usual host, Julia, the Marketing and Social Media Specialist here at the Wilson County News.
Hi, I'm Kristen Weaver, Director of Operations.
And today we are joined by
Nancy de la Zerda
And Pat Jackson.
Awesome.
Welcome.
And they're coming here to us from the Wilson County Historical Society and the Wilson County Historical Commission. So we'll kind of talk about the differences between those two entities, but also how they work together as we get into the video. But before that, we'd like to thank our sponsor today. This video is sponsored by Price Chrysler Dodge Ram Jeep in Floresville, and they are hiring for all positions. They were on, I think, a couple of weeks ago now, maybe 3 weeks ago now, and told us more about what they do, their new facilities. They're very excited to welcome new customers into their new building, as well as
It's an exciting time
people
for
who are
them.
looking for careers in the vehicle industry. So if you're interested in learning more or applying for careers at Price Chrysler Dodge Ram Jeep, you can visit pricecdrj.com. And then, as usual, we're going to draw a winner for our comment contest. So if you're not sure what that is, every week while we're live, you have the chance to comment on our videos while we're live. And if you do that, you're entered to win during next week's drawing. So here we have the pool of names of folks who commented on last week's video. And would one of you beautiful ladies like to do the honors?
Oh, I'd love to.
There you go.
Let's see who we
Pick a
have
lucky
here.
one.
Yeah.
How's that?
All right. Let's see who it is. It's Linda Gill.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, Linda. If you know her, Linda spelled normally like Linda and Gill, Gil. Tag her in the comments. Let her know she won.
Yeah.
We'll be doing the same. And Linda, if you're watching right now, look out for a Facebook message from me, Julia, explaining what you won and how to pick it up. But this week's prize is a C Street Gift Shop gift bag. So if you're interested in winning next week, be sure to leave a comment while we're live, whether that's just telling us hi or even asking a question that we can get answered from these two lovely ladies. All right, so now that we've covered all that, we can get into the nitty-gritty. So let's talk about who each of you are and where you're from.
I am Pat Jackson. I am descended from 0300 Miles Battle. Also, my grandfather died at the Alamo, Gordon Jennings.
Wow.
We have a long line of relatives and a lot of strong women in our history.
Wow.
So that's who I am.
Cool.
I'm a member of the Daughters of the Republic of Texas, the Alamo Defenders Descendants, and of the Wilson County Historical Society, which I enjoy all of them.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it does. And how about yourself?
Hi, I'm Nancy de la Zerda. I'm from San Antonio. I've been involved with the Wilson County Historical Society for about 5 years. I head up an association to take care of maintain and preserve the De la Zerda Historical Cemetery and Ancestral Cemetery here.
Yeah.
And my ancestors were early settlers, some of the first Tejano settlers to live in this area. I am also a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution because some of my ancestors drove cattle from this area before the family actually moved here. They drove cattle all the way to Louisiana for the American Revolution cause. Spain was involved against Britain at the same time.
That's cool.
So yeah, I'm
That
glad
is
to be
cool.
here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. So what do each of y'all do with the Wilson County Historical Society?
I started out with Maureen Lyles doing the Texas Rangers, and I have tried to find more information on them, put them in the archives, and contacted family members about doing the Memorial Cross.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I have done with the Wilson County Historical Society.
Wow.
All right. And yourself?
Well, once I was involved with Wilson County Historical Society, I now help maintain and preserve several other historic cemeteries in Wilson County.
Yeah.
We've gotten groups involved to maintain the Canary Island Cemetery. Thank you, Marshall Castro. and a lot of people from Sacred Heart Church that have helped him with that cause. And more recently, I'm sorry.
And as you talk about these, maybe say where they are. So the Canary
Oh
Island
yeah, the
Cemetery.
Canary Island Cemetery is the one between the AutoZone and the
Yes.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, and it looks
Perfect.
fabulous now. At one
Amazing.
time, we had our dear superhero, Hank Whitman, now Wilson County Judge Hank Whitman, would go
Yeah.
out there and mow and trim when we still hadn't gotten a group together.
Yeah.
And so I always hold him in very high regard because he could have just retired and,
Right.
ridden off into the sunset, but he's always been devoted to the community. We also now have a group that, with Claudia Garza heading up and Barbara Valadez heading up the Garza Valadez Cemetery,
Oh.
cleanup and maintenance and preservation efforts. And that is at 611 4th Street, which is Business 181 coming in
Yeah.
from San Antonio. And currently, Melinda Creech and I are working on different projects, several projects for the Walker Edwards Cemetery, which is the
Okay.
one behind the HEB
Yeah.
on 7th Street
Yep.
on the residential side. And that is an African American cemetery. Very, very
Amazing.
historic, very important projects that Melinda's working on.
That's
Very
great.
cool.
We help people learn about their ancestors,
Mm-hmm.
and we also are looking for more American patriots, the Tejanos in the area that served the Spanish cause in the American Revolution. We're looking for the resting places of more Tejano Texas Rangers, Republic of Texas Rangers, and we seek out individuals to help us that they value cemeteries as places of rest and as museums, really, of history.
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
That's
She
very
does a lot.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
So, before we get into the details of your upcoming events, let's talk about the Historical Society itself. What is its function in our county?
Well, the Wilson County Historical Society's role in the community is to work with the County Historical Commission in identifying historic sites. And we call them real places with real stories.
Yeah.
Real stories that happen in shaping Wilson County history. And we try to locate the places that the State Historical Commission may deem worthy of for the state historic landmarks signs. So that's what we do. And then we also we're all volunteers, and we help preserve, protect, and promote, and even advocate sometimes for Wilson County's history, like our dear late president LaWanna Newman Luce, who, thanks to her, we actually Wilson County is on the world stage now, with the Rancho de las Cabras being designated as a World Heritage Landmark Site.
Wow.
Some of us, like Maureen Lyles, choose to do research and write. Others do presentations. Others help preserve cemeteries or valuable buildings like the Jailhouse Museum. We help maintain the Poly Mansion, the DeWeese Remschel House. And let's see, and of course Pat and I work with the Texas Rangers. Some of us team up with helping fundraise. And of course our very big success story is Viola Henke with the Floresville Opry for the last 11 years. It's a great success story, but the members all team up and help each other out with our different projects.
Yeah, and it
Very
seems like y'all would
extensive.
have to. Y'all have so much going on.
We have the Jailhouse Museum, and oh, by the way, the research that our people and others do is, and books as well, are archived at the Wilson County Archives building, which is close to the Jailhouse Museum at
Yeah.
C Street and 4th.
Yeah.
And that's where anyone can come and study and learn. It is facilitated or run by the Wilson County Library System.
That's
Amazing.
very cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Does it cost anything to go look through those archives?
No.
It does not.
Really? Oh, that's good.
No, and we have a wonderful person named Sandra Smith that
Great.
is our the person that sponsors. She's there hosting us when
Yeah,
we
she
come.
helps everybody that walks in the door.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
is so sweet.
And if you have questions that she may be able to research before you even come, that's also
That's true.
possible.
Ooh, very cool.
So we help preserve, protect, and promote Wilson County history is what we do.
Brilliant.
I see y'all do a lot of stuff. And then I also mentioned at the beginning how we have the Wilson County Historical Society, and then separately, but sort of working together, we have the Wilson County Historical Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been asked, just because people know I work at the newspaper, so apparently I know everything. But
That happens.
But I actually don't know, what is the difference between those two organizations? You know,
Mhm.
why do we have a society and a commission? You know, can
I don't know.
explain?
So,
Well, in 1953, you know, the Texas the State Historical Commission
Yeah.
was formed, and then they formed some in each of the counties, I believe by 1973.
Okay.
Each county had one. And again, they were initially called the Texas State Historical Survey Committee, because they would
Okay.
actually locate sites and do the surveys
Yeah.
of the property that they were going to deem historical land sites. Well, one of the things, the reason for that is so that people could learn about the history, educate others, and for the economic development of the area. In other words,
Right.
to encourage tourism.
Yeah,
We
but
have-
around
yeah.
history, not just
And
Yeah.
preserving it as well.
And there are
So cool.
many people, they're called heritage travelers, people that travel to see landmark sites.
Right.
I have a friend that, she said she went on a trip with a friend, and they stopped at every historical marker, you know, and there were a lot of them in Texas. So, but that was the
Yeah.
purpose of the commission, and then the society is actually a functioning arm, sort of a subset of
Mhm.
the commission, and we do
Okay.
fundraising and the
Mhm.
research, and
Right.
Right.
it's sort of the aid,
Mhm.
and then they do the work
The
with
official-
deciding what it, and they do
Yeah.
a lot of the protecting of the,
Right.
you know, officially protecting.
That makes sense. So
Mhm.
that explains why, from what I understand, pretty much anyone can apply to join the Historical Society, but you have to be elected to the commission board to
Right.
be a part of that. So
That's
that's really cool. So the
good.
Historical Society is more of the community part,
Mhm.
and the commission is all of the official documentation, protecting.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
taking
the
those
ones that have
first
fun.
steps. Yes.
The society.
We have fun doing
Sounds
our
like
projects.
it. Yeah. Well, speaking of that fun.
Well,
we-
I have a few comments I think
Oh,
that would
okay.
be helpful and kind of in line with what we're talking about. So thank you, Elaine. She was saying that the members of the commission are appointed by Commissioner's Court. So that just solidifies what Julia was
Okay.
saying. And also, Sherry mentioned that Sandra is there at the archives building on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
right.
So we
Cool.
can remember
From
those
9 to 3:30.
hours. Yeah, it's very,
Cool.
and that's a function of, the archives is probably a function of the commission, right? Or, is-
Well,
eh,
It's the
It's the same.
Wilson
well,
County
through the library,
Libraries.
absolutely, and I know
Mhm.
I've had to use that as a resource before.
But
Very
they
good.
accept, for
Mhm.
example, this morning I went and she had some cookbooks that from
Oh,
people
yeah.
bring,
Yeah.
of course, and we want to encourage anybody who has artifacts that you feel are in a museum. I failed to mention, we also have members who run museums. You know,
Yeah.
Tambria Reed, the
Oh,
Sutherland Springs
gosh,
Museum,
yes.
Elaine Mazurek
So much
Stevens,
work being
Livonia
done.
Museum.
Mhm.
So
Incredible.
we
that's
have, if you
right.
have any
Yeah.
artifacts that you think we should have, or research or
Mhm.
books that you think we should have in the archives, that would be great.
Amazing.
Right. Yeah.
and you can go there and check everything. I
Yes.
mean, there's so many history on the
Mhm.
families of Floresville, Wilson
Right.
County. Not just
Mhm.
Floresville, but all of Wilson County. Because I'm from Sutherland Springs,
Mhm.
and they have a wealth of information on families. So if you're
Yeah.
researching your genealogy, you can go there and look them up.
Very
So it is
true.
very interesting there.
Wow.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Right. Well, speaking of cool stuff,
Mhm.
we heard you're planning 2 Texas Ranger Cross Ceremonies for 2 different Texas Rangers.
Let me tell you when this started. The
Okay.
former Texas Ranger Association started it in 1999. It's called the Memorial Cross. The first dedication was at Center Point Cemetery in Kerr County for 32 Rangers that are buried there.
Wow.
That's the most that we know of any separate cemetery.
Mhm.
Since then, there has been over 650 memorial crosses dedicated to the former Rangers. And this is anyone like Nancy's ancestor that was in it before 1836 on down. Anyone that has a member of family
Mhm.
that was a Ranger at any time, because they didn't work, like we do 9 to 5.
All structured.
They worked for a month or two or a
Right.
week even. you know, to take care of our country, to
Mhm.
take care of rebellious Indians,
Mhm.
you know, which was unfortunate.
Keeping people
But
safe.
that's how it
Yeah.
started. And
Amazing.
since then, like I said, there's been over 650
Wow.
memorial crosses.
So when will your two ceremonies be happening?
Nancy, go ahead and tell yours first.
Well, the Ranger Cross dedication gravesite ceremony at 11 o'clock on that day. We have two ceremonies, one at 11 and one at 2 p.m. The 11 a.m. one is to recognize the service of my two times great-grandpa, Nemesio R. de la Cerda. Not to be confused, his son was a sheriff in later years, but Nemesio, my great-grandpa, is buried at the De La Cerda Historical Cemetery at Peach Street and Goliad Road, which is where the ceremony will be. It's very limited parking, so get there early. You'll have to walk a bit to get to the site if you do come. And it's the site of the rancho where he and his wife, Maria Rafaela, moved their family from San Antonio. He had purchased the land from her uncle Jose de Arocha, so it's part of the De Arocha land grant, as is most of downtown area of Floresville.
Wow.
Let's see, he was a descendant of soldiers, so like many of the soldiers, they knew all the caminos, the trails, so they had become cartmen or traders, because their job had been for the church to transport things to the different missions. So they were very familiar with the caminos, and it was sort of a family tradition to carry on. And so when he moved to Floresville area, there was no Floresville yet, no in Wilson County yet, and Lodi wasn't even established yet. It behooved the settlers here to have someone who did trading. He could haul their things off and then also bring goods. They would travel. He had up to maybe 15 oxen carts and wagons drawn that they would carry freight all the way to as far east as New Orleans and as far south as Saltillo, Mexico, which was a big trade center, and of course north to San Antonio and all along the Gulf Coast.
Wow.
And so it benefited him also because the property, the rancho, is located right at pretty much the crossroads of El Camino Real and El Camino del Cibolo, which was what he had transported goods on. And also the location of the ranch is right where one of the lowest river crossings was. To cross the river and you would go south to Mexico and or point south along the coast.
Right.
But in 1839, the governor of Texas, Republic of Texas, M.B. Lamar, called for the militia to ride out. And Henry Carnes, of what is now Carnes County, rounded up some civilians in his area. And Juan Seguin, who lived in what later would become Floresville, rounded up Tejano settlers from this area.
Wow.
And my great-grandpa rode out with about 50 other Tejano ranchers. And they were gone for about a month. These men left their ranches, they left their families, they left their businesses, and they rode out to try to negotiate with some of the raiding tribal Comanches. Now, a lot of the tribes by that time, by the 1830s, were not raiding anymore, but there were some difficulties, and they wanted to negotiate with them. And after the ride, Carnes actually was able to do some negotiating, although things still continued up until the Civil War. So it is for this military service of my great-grandpa in 1839 that he's being recognized as a former Texas Ranger. And I can tell you that my family and I are very humbled and deeply honored to show our great-grandpa that his service is being recognized by such a worthy group of men and women.
That's amazing.
The former Texas Rangers Association, who, like him, risk it all for law and order and for peace in our communities, even back then.
Wow. Yeah.
That is so true.
And these ceremonies are happening on Saturday, April 22nd,
Yeah.
with
So,
Nemesio's being at 11 o'clock. That's what you were
11.
saying.
right.
And then at 2.
And William Wright, his ceremony is at 2 p.m. on the 22nd on Saturday. He, of course, was very famous ranger in the area. He was a captain later on. He also worked as a deputy sheriff under Sheriff Craighead at the time, and in 1898, he joined the Rangers under John Rogers. In 1902, he left the Rangers and became elected as sheriff of Wilson County.
Wow.
He was a sheriff here for 15 years.
Okay.
At his retirement from being a sheriff, he was given a beautiful horse, which evidently there's pictures everywhere of this horse and him, and I believe it's right here, on here.
Oh.
And that was one of his favorite things. But anyway, he went on to be a ranger. He was appointed captain by Governor William Hobby in 1917, and his company was formed to go to the Rio Grande and keep bootleggers from coming across and bringing whiskey and everything. Of course, I am not a relative. Mary Ann Ford Martinez is his great-granddaughter.
Oh.
She will be here on the
Wonderful.
22nd. She does not live in this area, so I've helped with getting his dedication done for her. So he also, at the time, he was known as the El Capitan Diablo, and I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. That is the devil captain.
Close.
But he was also known to be a law enforcer and a peacemaker. So that was wonderful of him. During the Civil War, he also maintained along the Rio Grande, I guess, for people coming over from other countries or something, starting trouble. He participated.
Pancho Villa was
True.
stealing cattle, yeah.
That is true. So he also, during his time, he was on horseback, and then there was cars. So he transitioned from horseback to cars to telephones, which was not back then. He was born in 1868, so you can tell, that he had a long life during that time.
Yeah.
So he was very interesting, I think, and I'm sorry I don't know all the little details of his life. There's a book out, My McKesslin, and I understand he's wrote a new one that has more detail in it about his life and times. But his grandson, which is Sam Four, said of him, he loved the Texas Ranger Force with deep and abiding affection. He died in March 7th in 1942. He is buried here at Floresville Cemetery, along with one of his sons, his parents, and his children are there also. So when Marianne Ford Martinez comes, it'll be kind of a special day for her to be back here in Floresville.
Yeah.
She lives in Brownsville, and I'm real excited for her to be here.
Yeah. So you.
I just had to, I want to jump in real quick and remind everybody, but a great resource, like you're saying, you don't know all the details about Captain Wright, is you can go to the Historical Society's website, wilsoncountyhistory.org, and you can search any of these names, and there's an incredible amount of information that the Society and different members
there
have
is.
put together over time. So, along with finding these events for the ceremonies, they're both posted there from their calendar, as well as to the bios that have been put together for this event. You can also do a search and find so much information that
Well,
that
you can
they've
go
shared.
to the archives, and he's
Yeah.
got 2 folders
Yeah,
of information.
And we
But
have
I
this,
didn't think
alone.
you would want everything said today.
Of course.
we
but-
have this great book that
Yes.
the historians at Wilson County put together for the sesquicentennial, and that's available here at Wilson County, at C Street.
Yes.
That has a lot of information and really good stories about early.
It really is. It's a good keepsake
Wilson
to have
County,
in your
yes.
collection, and it's also on the website as well.
Yes, it is.
So you mentioned that when the former Texas Rangers Association first formed, they were called the Memorial Cross.
It is called a memorial cross, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what exactly is a cross ceremony? How
Ceremony
does
consists of the rangers coming. You usually have a speaker that it was a former ranger, like we
Okay.
both do. And it's such a moving event. The cross is there, and it's covered, and usually a family member will unveil it. I've had the privilege to unveil one in Stockdale for our Jackson in Stockdale. And they, just seeing them there, you open it with the pledges, not only the United States Pledge, but the Texas Pledge.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you have a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your speaker, which is usually your Texas Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's, I don't even have my program with me, and I'm so nervous right now.
Oh, it sounds
But
moving.
We have the bios of,
Yes,
a
they read the
family.
bios.
Yes, somebody
Mhm.
reads the bio
Mhm.
about
The Ranger.
The Ranger.
And that's been submitted whenever you do your application.
Okay.
And
Okay.
any family member can do an application. It's all free to them. And you just fill it out, sign it. You do join the Former Rangers Association, minimal amount. If you want to stay with them, you're welcome to stay with them. I have several cousins that belong to them because one of our descendants, our ancestors, was a ranger also.
Yeah.
So my husband has a grandfather that was a ranger in Denton, Texas. So we have they have lots of things, information, even on their website that you can do, and the research that you can do.
And one of the things at the end, toward the end of the ceremony, is one of the rangers will recite the Ranger
prayer.
and it is a beautiful,
It is.
moving prayer. I just love.
It is.
I loved reading it. I've never
Mhm.
actually heard it. So this will be my
Your
first
first.
ceremony to
Oh,
attend. So
that's
I'm very
neat.
excited.
It is. And then, of course, I have a cousin that has a cannon.
Oh, neat.
And
Sweet.
they also are going to have a rifle salute and the cannon.
Reenactors.
And
Wow.
yes, the reenactors. And this year we have a woman that is in the rifle salute. So I think that's
Cool.
moving itself,
Yeah.
thank goodness for her,
Mhm.
for her. So that's exciting, and that's at the very end of the ceremony.
Okay.
They shoot 3 times.
So, what is the tradition behind these ceremonies? When did this, start?
Well, it started, like I said, in 1999.
Okay.
Mhm.
The former Texas Rangers wanted to do something to honor the former Rangers.
Right.
And before, they were the earlier Rangers. They didn't really become Texas Rangers until 1874.
Mhm.
So that was why it's called the Memorial Cross. And Don Holmes started the cross. He manufactured it, and it's called the Stars Over Texas. And it is a round circle with a star, and it
Oh,
says
yeah.
Texas Rangers.
Okay.
And
It's hard to see.
And his son now manufactures the cross for the former Texas Rangers Association.
Oh, wow.
His son is Jimmy Don Holmes, and he manufactures them, and he is the only one that does it for the Texas Rangers.
That's so cool.
They even, and the 32 from Gonzales, they did the dedication there, and they have a beautiful Texas Ranger cross there at their memorial in Gonzales, and it's just a very moving ceremony.
And it's a heavy cross. It was shipped to me, and I get home, and there's this huge box,
Oh my God.
and it says lamp box, and I go, I didn't order a lamp. It must be for my neighbor. We get
Yeah.
the Amazon Prime delivering things. And so I open it, and it's the cross. I thought it was my neighbor's, and I checked
Yeah.
the address, and no, it's for me. And I go, I didn't order a lamp. I opened it, and it was so stunning and heavy.
Very heavy.
And very big. And of course, we have to install it properly.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
The family is responsible to install it. And my poor husband, we went there that day to do Captain Wright's, and he was running 102 temperature, which I did not know that.
Oh, goodness.
Or we wouldn't have done it that day. He had bronchitis.
Oh,
So
gee.
that was terrible. But it did get done. So
It's very impressive.
it is very.
The
It's,
crosses are
it's
beautiful.
18 by 36 inches tall. And it's above the ground 18 to 20 inches.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it is
Very
going to
nice.
be there for many, many, many years.
Yes, and you'll
I
be
mean, you
able to
can walk
spot
through the
it.
cemeteries. The Selland Springs Cemetery has 5.
Okay.
And you can walk through the cemeteries and find the crosses so easy, because they're right by the headstones.
Yeah.
So, and Fairview has many crosses there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful cemetery. I love
Well,
that cemetery.
Canary Islanders have one.
Yes,
For-
Qua. He rode
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Jack
Blah, blah, blah.
Hayes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Very
Great.
proud of that.
Yes.
And so, does the Texas Ranger that gets honored need to have a family member initiate that process?
It's better if they do, but an organization can do it also. A family member, all they have to do is request an application and submit it, and they do all the work on it, to
Yeah.
find the times that he was there and also his background and everything. So and Nancy, did all of hers, and I helped Mrs. Four with hers, and it was just, it's just very satisfactory that the family does it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many here that the families could do it if they would just contact us.
Yeah.
We will help.
All right. So the family doesn't have to put together all that information by themselves.
No, they do
They're
not.
there to help.
Yeah.
We will help.
We will help.
Yes,
Amazing.
definitely.
Well, that's definitely encouraging. So if
Good.
any family member or any person watching today has, an ancestor that was a Texas Ranger,
Mhm.
how would they start the process?
Contact me.
Or
I
me.
will be the happy.
I'm looking for relatives of Salvador Flores. He rode with Juan Seguin. He was the lieutenant. And also Vicente Garza. We have two Garzas that are related to Claudia, interred at Garza Valadez Cemetery. But this would be her great-grandpa's grandfather that we're
Whoa,
looking
yeah.
to see if, probably he's buried there, but we need to
Figure
look
that
it up.
out.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm looking for there were over 50 of the Tejanos that rode with Seguin, and a lot of my research came just straight out of, thank goodness I had his book. Thanks to
Yeah.
Maureen Lyles for,
Yeah.
she enlightened me. By the way, your ancestor could qualify, and so that's what got me started.
Oh, how cool.
Amazing.
All right. Well, that all said, I also know that the Wilson County Historical Society has some other events coming up and in the works. So I know one of those is actually happening this Saturday at the Event Center.
Yes, but I was going to mention that on the
sure.
same day since we're talking about I call it Ranger Day, the whole
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
April
At
22nd.
11, and then also all day from 11 a.m. till 6 p.m. our jailhouse museum will be open.
yeah.
Wilson County
Wonderful.
Jailhouse Museum here in Floresville,
Awesome.
right by the courthouse, and that the tours are going to be free that day.
Ooh.
So we have a dynamite team. Tara and her husband Ryan Lee will be there, and they are conducting tours now once a month, traditionally, from 10 on second Saturdays, the same Saturday as community market, and also at night. Sometimes for special tour groups, they're having some paranormal tours. So those are special and separate from the historical tours. But the same day as the April 22nd, as the Ranger events, between the two events, you could go over there, and there is also a benefit dinner plate being
Yes.
served at Wilson County Courthouse. You
A
want
lot
to tell them
going
about
on.
that?
Yeah, so we
Great.
actually have some tickets available here at the Wilson County News. It's a benefit meal for Kevin Forrester. It's a carne guisada plate. It comes with rice, beans, a drink, and dessert for $12. And it'll happen at the courthouse, but you can pick up a big blue ticket from the newspaper.
And I heard that the recipe for the carne guisada is very special.
Ooh.
Hank Whitman, Judge
Yeah.
Whitman, his recipe. So he's going to be
Interesting.
contributing in
Yeah.
more ways than one
Right.
for that day.
Very nice, yeah.
Yeah.
But our note here says that Kevin Forrester works with the county and is having the benefit to cover medical expenses. So that'll be at the courthouse again.
He's
from
the
10:30
supervisor
to
of
2.
maintenance.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And tickets are also available at the auditor's office at Wilson County Courthouse in Suite 109, I believe.
All right.
Yeah.
So several places you can pick one up, but that's happening all the same day as the Texas Ranger ceremonies, those 2 cross ceremonies, and the free tours at the Jailhouse Museum.
Yes.
So that'll be a busy Saturday.
It's, I call it Ranger Day, Texas Ranger Day.
Yeah.
Great.
And then now, of course, this coming weekend, 3 days from now,
15th.
Yeah.
is the Western Shindig.
Yeah, I can-
Viola Henke and her crew, they have the Opry once a month, but now this Shindig is very special because it'll be at the Floresville Event Center and on a Saturday, so that people can come
Wow.
and party and stay over, or come early on Saturday and do some sightseeing and go to the Shindig and let's
there's-
see. Go ahead.
I think there's only a few tables left. I spoke with her
Wow.
yesterday,
Amazing.
and they're just about sold out. There are a few tables left, so it's really going to be a big.
But so
Big
do
deal.
they have standing room also? Yeah,
She
maybe.
did not say.
don't know.
I would
Most
assume
people like
somebody
to
wants
sit-
to sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's co-sponsored City of Floresville Economic Development Corporation, Kirby Smith, KS Trucking, ConocoPhillips, and Wilson County News. The doors open at 5:30. There'll be a barbecue dinner by Woody's, desserts, silent auction. It's bring your own adult beverages. Music at 7 by Kobe Carter and Brady Honeycutt. And these are young men who I listen to some of their music. It's really great. It's classic country western and Texas swing.
Oh,
Cute.
Mr.
that's really
Honeycutt.
nice.
These are young musicians. Talk
Right.
about preserving and protecting
Yes.
and promoting
Yes.
history. I love, I grew up listening to a lot of the classic country and especially the swing music. So I'm very excited. There will be another Shindig in July,
Looking
July the
forward to
15th.
it.
Mark your
Yeah.
calendars.
Mhm.
And then, of course, come join us any third Tuesday of the month for the Wilson County Historical Society meetings, and maybe you can decide on joining and teaming up with
That's
some of
right.
us for our projects. We are currently meeting at the Wilson County Courthouse in the second floor.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And
Mhm.
while we're talking
Yeah.
about that, going back to the Shindig, that's to benefit the Wilson County Jailhouse Museum.
Oh, yes.
And another thing that you
Thank
can
you.
do to help with the Jailhouse Museum restorations, which are almost done, but we still need, it's over $100,000, I know for sure.
Yes.
But you can purchase a brick, a memorial brick, to
Mhm.
put on the pathway
Thank you,
leading
that
up
was-
to the jailhouse. That's really
Yeah.
special.
Yes.
Yeah.
They'll be for sale the day of April
As well.
22nd, Ranger Day.
Wonderful.
Yeah, Neela
Great.
Hopkins will be
Yeah.
there
Oh,
with
great.
they're going to build a sidewalk with those
Yeah.
bricks, and you can have your family's name or your business name or
Right.
organization's name engraved on the bricks.
Or you can do it for a ranger and have their name on a
That's
brick.
right.
Yes, or a sheriff,
Oh.
Or a sheriff,
Nice.
that's right.
Good.
or anyone you love.
That's true.
Yeah. All right.
In memory of.
Thank you for covering that.
Yeah,
Very
well,
important.
Really,
yeah.
it's thanks to, I think it was Elaine who had commented that. And
There's a lot of good
She
comments
says,
today.
bring this up.
Yes,
Yeah.
and thank you. Take a look at all the comments because there's good links to some of the information we've been referring to, and really appreciate all of your feedback today.
Yeah.
Great
Wilson
comments.
County Historical Society is on Facebook, and of course, Wilson County Historical
Yes.
Society.org.
.org.
website.
WilsonCountyHistory.org. Yeah.
History.org.
And so that's where you can find more information. And like earlier, we were talking about the archives. If you want to get involved with that, I know it's all linked up and contact information is on that website,
Mm-hmm.
as well as some instructions for getting started. So that's helpful. So yeah, great. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up our talk today. I'm going through my checklist, and we covered all of the events that y'all have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But also on their website, they have a very inclusive calendar of events.
Events.
And the tour dates of the Jailhouse Museum, including their paranormal tours,
Mm-hmm.
and the Western Shindig is on there.
We may be opening up Rancho de las Cabras more often. Anthony Delgado spoke with National Parks Rangers last week at a meeting, and they're also going to maybe let the society,
Help with that.
Tambry Reed said that they did do that before,
Mm-hmm.
where when the park rangers can't be here, that we can open and maybe add dates for tours. So we
pretty
will be
cool.
wanting to train, and of
Mhm.
course we need more tour guides for a lot of our things. The trail is very important too. We
Mhm.
want to have some events that feature the trail in the area.
Absolutely.
So very exciting. And one of the things that one of the park rangers is heading up, they're going to do some more geophysical studies at Rancho de las Cabras, and they will be seeking, especially young people involved with the Texas Conservation Corps
Okay.
and volunteers to help with
Great.
and you can learn about the equipment that's the same equipment used for mining, you know, searching for minerals and for fossil fuels and things like that. So it's very
Yeah.
exciting time.
Well, as things develop over there, we might just have to have y'all back to talk about it.
Yes, and I forgot to plug the junior historians. We
Okay.
are always looking for young people that can get excited about participating in the promoting and learning about their own histories and the county history.
And one of the junior historians will be at our ceremony, and she is
Nice.
going to speak.
Sweet.
Oh.
Oh, that's so cool.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Well, so be sure to mark your calendars for April 22nd for not just the 2 Ranger Cross ceremonies, but also this Carne Asada meal benefit and the Jailhouse Museum tours that will be
That's right.
free all day. Make sure that if you're
The Shindig.
wanting to become part of living history in Wilson County, buy a brick.
Mm-hmm.
Get your family,
Yeah.
you know, laid there in stone. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
great way.
there you go, yeah.
Come out for the live country classic
Oh,
music
this
Saturday.
this Saturday, and
This
also
Saturday. I think
any
it's
of the
gonna be-
Opries that also support the Jailhouse Museum as well.
Yeah.
For the July Shindig, I want to bring a group from San Antonio so we can,
Great.
you know, we can't always
Yeah.
come on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
but maybe on a Saturday
Yeah.
we can
Yeah.
hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
And then, as always, like they've mentioned, Wilson County Historical Society is on Facebook, as well as the Jailhouse Museum. And they also have a website, wilsoncountyhistory.org,
That's right.
where you can find everything that we've been talking about today and then some. So, right. Well, thank you two for coming on today.
Oh, thank you
Thank you
so
for having
much.
us. We appreciate it very much.
I
I learned
heart
a lot.
Wilson County News.
Aw,
Always.
I always love listening to you tell about our history. I think those are fascinating stories, and you can tell that you love what you do. So thank you for keeping it up.
Thank
We'll
you
keep
so much
promoting
for
it.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And while we're on the topic of thanking people, thank you to Price Chrysler Dodge Ram Jeep for sponsoring this very interesting talk. If in case you didn't hear at the beginning, they are hiring for all positions, especially in their service department. They have 18 full service bays that are like double bays. So what is that,
Okay.
36?
Mhm.
And they need people to help
Yeah.
there. They need people in their offices, salesmen,
That's right.
everything. So you can learn more and apply at pricecdrj.com, where you can also see some of their inventory, and they're still welcoming people to come check out their new facilities. They're pretty cool, apparently, so give them a visit, and thank you so much, Price. And also thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you, Linda Gill, for your comment on last week's video that won you our comment contest prize.
Okay.
This is your reminder to comment in these last few moments if you want to be entered to win next week's prize. But thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. for another WCN Live.
Great. See you then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Oh.